Sustained advantage. What does it mean? That's going to be the topic of today's video. Okay everyone, so if you're an expat or a high net wealth individual in particular, go over to adamfire.com and find out how I can help you. Now on this video, I'm going to talk about a sustained competitive advantage. What does it mean in simple terms? So let's talk about a company like, for example, CocaCola. Now CocaCola and probably Pepsi as well have a very iconic product. The brand recognition is even more than something like Amazon. It might not make as much money, but Coca-Cola is more famous around the world in more places. Pretty much everywhere in the world, maybe apart from one or two extreme countries, Coca-Cola is widely known. And also it's not easy to compete with Coca-Cola or indeed Pepsi. Virgin Coke, for anyone who's from the UK, will kind of be quite familiar because Richard Branson and Virgin tried to come in with Virgin Coke to compete with Coca-Cola. It didn't work. Coca-Cola tried to compete with Coca-Cola in a way, the original recipe with the new Coke in the 1980s, but it didn't work. They had to apologize to their loyal customers, even though people said it tasted better before they launched it. People just weren't happy that they were changing the original recipe, and actually they didn't have both new Coke and original at the same time. They actually took away the original Coke, which was a big mistake. So the point is, if somebody has $1 billion or $10 billion, even $1 trillion, it's not going to be easy to come in and compete with Coca-Cola or Pepsi. Another example could be Wiggly's, the chewing gum. Even if someone has a lot of money, it's not going to be easy to compete with them, because if you think about it, people don't really want to change what they put in their mouth when it comes to, I don't know, a 50 cent or pence product, right? It's not going to be easy for Jeff Bezos or Buffett or somebody like that to come in and kind of outcompete them. Same with Google in a different way. I think Google and Amazon now, their position in the market is very strong. Although I do think something like Coca-Cola is more likely to be around in 100 years than say Google or Amazon, but you know, you never know. I think those two companies also have a good chance. So when it comes to a sustained advantage, there's a few questions you can ask. Number one, if there's somebody who's got $1 billion, could they compete with this company? Number two, let's say you have a huge firm like Amazon. Could they compete with this particular company, even if they put enough resources in? If the answer to that is no, then they have a sustained competitive advantage. In comparison, there are some firms that are much bigger than some of the firms I mentioned. For example, at one stage, I think Yahoo was actually bigger than Coca-Cola. And also some of the big tech firms, like for example, Netflix, it's debatable whether they have a competitive long-term advantage or not. They're number one now, but you know what, Disney's came in. Who knows? They might last for 100 years or they might not. They might go, broke within 20, 30 years. It could be possible that our companies will be able to compete against them. And I think that's always the key thing to ask. It's not easy to compete against Coca-Cola, but it's easier to compete against some technology firms, because with technology, you always have to be at the forefront of new technology. If technology firms don't adapt, they're going to die. Whereas Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Wiggly's, maybe Gillette shavers, they do ideally need to adapt. They do ideally need new products, but they're not going to go out of business. Even if Coca-Cola removes all their products and only has the original Coke, they're still going to be in business in 100 years, probably. How can I help you? In two ways. First of all, are you an expat, a high net wealth individual, or just somebody who lives in a part of the world where it's difficult to get access to quality investment solutions? In which case, go onto my website on adamfire.com and find out more. If you don't fit into any of those categories, then in which case there's a range of free material on my website, on this YouTube channel, and indeed on my Quora, where I get over 200 or have received over 231 million views in the last few years. And finally, if you want to actually read my thoughts in more detail, go onto Amazon and find my book on there.